In this video, we're going to discuss regional group settings versus marketplace settings. So just to start from the top, kind of high level, if you look at your forecast page and you see that some of your products have multiple forecasts for the same product, that's because by default, we are pulling in API information from Amazon through their API reports on a marketplace by marketplace level. If we go into one of these products, so we'll start here and we'll go to our inventory page, which looks like this, and we'll click into this fidget spinner as an example. We can actually see Amazon is reporting this inventory on two different ASIN SKU combos, basically two different marketplaces. So the first marketplace is US, and you can see that Amazon's telling us that there's 841 available and 116 in reserved, but there's also another 841 and 116 in Canada. Now, that's actually not the case because our products are enrolled in something called the North America Remote Fulfillment Program, or NARF. Now, in Europe, there's a similar program called Pan-EU, and they also have an additional program in Europe called the EFN, or European Fulfillment Network. So if you're enrolled in, or if you're selling in Europe and you're enrolled in either Pan-EU or EFN programs, you're of course going to see many different marketplace options and regional group options here. But let's explain the North America one first. So what we want to do is we want to combine both of these two into one regional grouping so that instead of having two separate forecasts when all of our inventory is really stored in the US across, multiple US fulfillment centers in Amazon, we don't actually send inventory into Canada or Mexico. So you might see US Canada or US Canada Mexico, depending on what countries you've turned on for NARF. Or similar to in the EFN or Pan-EU, you might see UK, Italy, Germany, Spain, etc., etc. If these numbers all match, that means you're probably enrolled in the European Fulfillment Network. So basically what we're going to do for this one is I'm simply going to group by North America. And what that's going to do is it's going to deduplicate this. Now, by default, SoStock does have an algorithm logic that will do its best to find and try to intelligently group these for you. But in some cases, it doesn't work if the numbers don't match perfectly. So you can come in here and you can make changes manually. So what I usually do is I'll just group everything by North America, and we actually have a drop-down list of various options. So for example, save and apply to all active products. What that will do is it would take every one of my products that are in North America and it would group them all into a regional group. Let me just do it for this product only to show you what that looks like. So I'm going to come down here to the bottom and I'll click Save Changes. And then it's going to ask you this question. You've activated regional groupings. Please choose a marketplace and we will copy its forecast settings to the activated regional group. So what that means is, again, I've got two different forecasts here. And my forecast settings would be all of my calculation variables. If I've set these up, I might have different lead times and different order schedules in US than Canada. And so the system is simply asking which one of those forecast settings do I want to use for my new region. So I'm going to choose US. And when I click Save, it's now going to combine both of those two forecasts into one forecast. So if I refresh this page, you can see that instead of having a US and also a Canada and also a Mexico, or any combination of those three forecasts, I now have one regional forecast. So whenever I'm placing POs or work orders, and I'm transferring inventory into Amazon, or if I'm sending inventory into Amazon, it's always just going to say to send it to the United States because that's where my inventory is actually being stored. Now, a couple of things to note. If I am selling in Europe, you will see you have additional options in here. One of them will say group by Europe, and then it'll say another one will be group by Europe minus or EUB, which is Europe without UK. So basically that's Pan-EU versus the EFN network for the most part. There's sometimes it varies, but basically if you want to include the UK in your European settings, meaning all of the European countries, including the UK, if you want all those grouped into one European forecast, you would group by Europe. If you want to exclude UK from the rest of Europe, you would simply group by Europe without UK, or EUB. EUB stands for Europe Brexit. That's when this was originally designed. Or as I like to say, Europe minus Britain. It's basically, you're going to have two different forecasts. You would have one forecast for all of Europe and then a separate forecast for the UK, because for the pan-EU, it's not included. For the EFN, they're all included together, including Great Britain or UK. All right, a couple of other things to note real quick is you do have the option to disable SKUs. So as you can see here, I've got a bunch of disabled SKUs. And what that means is sometimes Amazon will report data that's just frankly inaccurate. Like it says in Mexico, I've got 120 units in reserve status, which is completely false. I don't have any inventory in Mexico. And if this were grouped all together as US, Canada, and Mexico, our system would deduplicate this and then add an additional 120 units that actually doesn't exist. That's just a weird Amazon reporting issue. Sometimes they report inventory on the wrong SKU. So in this case, I've just disabled Mexico because we're not even selling in Mexico. And you can disable a SKU simply by clicking that button, and you can re-enable it by clicking that button. And you can see your disabled SKUs here as well. Okay, and the last thing I want to talk about is different options for saving and applying. So by default, what you would normally do is save and apply to all products, all active products. You can also save and apply to hidden products included, or any products with these tags, or all products with these exact tags. So basically what that means is, let's say I'll start back here, on my inventory page, and we have another tutorial that talks about tags, but let's say a few of my products are grouped by North America, and then a few of them are not grouped by North America, meaning some of my products are in the NARF program, and some of them I actually do send inventory into Canada. Maybe I only want a few of these that to be grouped by North America, and the rest of these I want it to be US, Canada, US, Canada, US, Canada, US, Canada. So what I would do is I would come in here and I would first assign a product tag, and you can come down here, assign a tag. And like I said, there's a deeper tutorial on product tags. I'm just showing you real quick. So I could create a product tag called NAM, for example. And now I'm going to submit that. So now these products have that tag. And when I'm coming in here, instead of saving to all active products, I can save this North America to all products with these exact tags. And it just says after you click save below, the system will change the regional grouping settings to the same as the product based on what you've, it's basically just saying you're about to change a whole bunch of stuff. And then I would choose that tag. So in this case, I'm going to find the tag NAM, and I'm going to save and apply. So now only those products with those tags are going to be assigned North America, and the rest will just be by default separate marketplaces. In this case, I've already assigned all of my products to NAM, so I've basically just oversaved it, but you get the idea. And you can also save to products with any of these tags, meaning you can select multiple different tags and it will save it to any of those. So anything that has this tag, or anything that has this tag, or anything that has this tag, I want all of those to be grouped by this region. So even if they're different tags, you have a couple options in there. But like I said, most of the time, most users are just going to save and apply to all active products. Click that and save, because 90% of sellers sell all in the same region, and they're all grouped the same way. Now you can use those save and apply options to ungroup products or regroup products. There's a bunch of different ways you can do it. In the next video, Dan is going to show you how to create custom regional groupings.